We should be live. Right. We're good then. Right, what's going on, champs? Hope you guys doing well. Appreciate you guys coming on as well. Richardson head-to-head with Exo. It wasn't intentional at all. It wasn't intentional at all. I literally tweeted and said like, a couple of hours before that I was going to actually jump on. This is YouTube, so you guys are more than welcome to actually stay on and watch me, or head over to Trade Exos and watch him, and vice versa, whichever you guys prefer. Doesn't really entirely matter itself. So it'd be stupid to actually to worry over like who went first or whatever. I think it's a bit childish play to hold any grudge. At the end of the day, Exo's Exo. I have a lot of respect for him, so it's a bit childish play. Got a bit of an echo. At the end of the day, Exo's Exo. I have a lot of respect. How about now? Do you have an echo now? Is it all good? Testing. It should be good. No, it's still not any better. It's actually worse. All good. Oh, all good. Perfect. Alright, bless. That's alright. Woo, fucking hell. Yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I didn't plan this actually to be the same time with Exo, to be honest. I literally tweeted about this early on in regards to like, yeah, doing the stream at 8 p.m. It wasn't one of those ones where I intentionally try to, to upfront him or whatever. So you guys can always actually head over to Trade Exo and actually watch his stream as well. And you can always watch mine after, whichever you guys prefer. And today, this is YouTube. It's an open platform. Everyone's entitled to actually go on whenever it is. For me, it's just suitable right now. Normally, I like to wait a little bit closer to the time, about 9 o'clock-ish, but I got a few things to sort out, so I thought, let me just do it at 8 o'clock. So let's do the shout as well. Who do we have here, man? Let's go. We got freaking Richard in the house. Carl, what's going on? Bomb Biggie's in the house. Adam. We got Solomon. We got D Opslank. Jazz Vanny, what's going on, my bro? It's been a while, man. Stecky, how you doing, my brother? Everyone all good? And we got more coming in a bit as well, man. I'm chilling, fam. The market's doing its thing, man. It's doing its thing. It's been interesting. BTC's pushed up quite nicely over 15.5k, and now what? Where we're trading at 22, 22.8, 23k ish. So it's done its thing. Traders. So question is, what's going to happen? Everyone's really worried about what's going to happen. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? What's the opportunity? Is there an opportunity? Are we going to miss it out? That's the big question everyone's worried about. And I'll be honest with you, the market's going to trick you to thinking that you're going to be late to the party. And in reality, let me just turn off the heater. Sorry about that. There we go. In reality, like it's literally just going to take its time and do what it wants to do. When it starts blowing out the proportion, and Ethereum actually breaks out, and you watch ETH-BTC, and ETH-BTC is actually pushing up on the upper end of the scale itself faster than Bitcoin. And like if you were to look at your on TradingView, you got on the right hand side the watch list kind of thing, and you should see percentage change, and you see the percentage change is greater on Ethereum than Bitcoin. Then Ethereum is the key player right now, and in the bull run it's always going to be Ethereum. In the bear run, in the bear run is Bitcoin, but you always have to remember Bitcoin dictates what happens next. Okay, so Giovanni, yeah, I remember you, bro. I remember you really, really well, man. The JZ Vanny as well. I guess it was Giovanni. How you doing, man? It's been a while, man. Turn says is ETH 1589 possible? Well, we'll make the plans. On Bitcoin. But I do want to touch base on some dollar index. I think that's the key thing right now, and I think it's time for us to start looking at what's going to happen. Like I was saying to the guys on the DC scene, I did say that in I think was it last week or the week before, about 3 weeks ago actually. I think it was about 3 weeks time. I go, now's your, like, as the market's pushing up, right? And look, we all want 12k. We all want 12k to happen. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Is it going to be a run up to the upper end? Could be. But we have to play this level to level. Let's just talk about dollar index and what's the key thing. So if you guys remember, thoroughly well, I talked about this, right? This low here is the key low. That was the key low itself, and we had a close below. So if he starts finding resistance, lose this low here, then I'd be looking for resistance, taking the shorts on dollar index, playing into well, my face is in the way, playing into those highs over there. That was the key, and then from there we'll see what happens. Maybe a bounce up there, 100.4 is the key area, it's the key macro level there. Once we break down, lose this level there, off it goes, and that'd be good for Bitcoin. That really would be like interesting for Bitcoin, but it's that support. You don't want to phase it. So what happened this time? So in this instance, right? Let me bring up my face. We don't really need all this shit. So in this instance, things changed differently, very, very drastically. What we had was a very, very quick deviation on the downside under this block there. Convinces everyone that we're gonna actually we're gonna go low. And what happened is blast off on a Friday, closes right at the top on the daily, and it takes out these highs there. Now, as long as we hold above this low here, we're good. Right, so could this be a 1 2 3? So those who knows what's a 1 2 3, let me just try to briefly explain this. That's the low, that's the stop run, so that's the 1, that's the 2. Do we come back for a retest for a 3 bullish market structure and run up to highs? Right, so in terms, if I'm going to work it out level to level, where I'm actually looking for areas of resistance and areas that I'm quite keen on, of interest on dollar index, it's this low here. This low here held at support, then we lost it, resistance. It was an SR point of view, and also at the same time we got a bit of a gap over here, a void, whatever you want to call it as well, to fill out. So we could do something like this, come back down into key levels there. This is the 2 weeks worth of Monday's consolidation there. This is 2 weeks consolidation right there, consolidation there, resistance, support, deviation, bigger deviation, break back up. Is it going to find support? As long as it finds support, whoops, let me delete this. As long as it finds support off Monday's high itself, so you got to put a deeper pullback, it's fine. Hold above into here, we can run into these highs there, into this low there. That's an SR. If we flip above that, it's an SR flip. What we're looking for is the next level of SRs, and what's that going to be? It's going to be somewhere. Would I say? Yeah, I'll probably use this pivot here. Yeah, I think that's the most sensible option right here. The reason why we got a bit of a deviation there, resistance, blast above there, support, deviation, blast up, support, and then we have the fuckery over here. Then we have the resistance, and then we sell off there. So these are going to be the key areas I'm looking at level to level. So if I'm working this out, so what we're going to be working out is, whoops, let me just delete everything off, and let's just work this level to level. First level, right, will be this, right? That's the upper end of the range, right? You can look at it as this as a range band environment, right? And it just so happens that this low here comes approximately the mid range, just about. If I wanted to be a bit more anal about it, I think the mid range comes into about. Let's have a look. It's probably around here. That's where the mid range is approximately. But as an SR point of view, I like to see this flip to reach to the upper end of the band into this high here. And once we get, I think if we do come up there, what I'm looking for is to fill out this gap over here. There's a little bit of a gap there, and that's the macro low here. So if I bring the level, oh, that's not right. Macro low is actually up there. It's right 108. My mistake. That's fucking stupid. What the fuck am I doing? Let me make a macro low. That's the weekly macro low around there. All right, cool. And that's all it is. And if it starts playing up on the upside, we're expecting dollar index to to be on the upside, because we are breaking market structure out of this high there. Maybe a pullback, hold into there. Target 1, target 2, and then we look for probably target 3 here, and then target 4. That's it. Which means there's going to be shorts on dollar the currency pairs across the board on forex, okay, against the dollar index, right? I just want to touch base on gold. If gold is going down, that's the question is, like before you even bring up gold, if gold goes down, I'm expecting dollar index to go up, which means it's gonna be a risk off trade. Sorry, what do I mean by risk off trade? Is that ES is gonna collapse as well. So if ES drops down, Bitcoin and Ethereum will follow through. So that's, as long as we have that in the back of our minds to understand what's the potential plays that's going to happen and what are we looking at, then we can actually start looking at the potential trades and setups that we're looking for. So going forward into next week, we are actually looking, well, the new week itself, we are looking for bearish plays. That's what we're looking for on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Same with ES. But I need to touch base on gold and see what's gold doing. So I touch on base on gold. Well, fuck you know. Let's bring up my levels, and we are below the range high. This is the range high. Let me actually bring this up for you so it's a bit more clear. So what I've got here, whoops, mother, XAU, USD, come on, don't fudge me around here. There we go. What's going on there? Cool. Just to point out the range band environment, all right, so what we got here, swing low. Come on, don't toss me about today. Swing low, swing high. And what we're looking at, mid-range. That's all it is. Keep it nice and simple. And in between, right, you can actually start taking profits on the way down. Okay, we are approaching a key area, which is at the 75% range right over here. So let me just mark that down. we're approaching this 75% range, which is the mid-range between the mid-range and the range high of the macro range itself, okay? And this is a range from like 2021 low, really. Yeah, 2021's low, 2021's high. Is it? Yeah, 2021's low, 2021's high. That's why I picked it out. I was trying to work it out what the fuck I'm doing in it. It's like, yo, when you sometimes when you pick out levels and you do so much, like, you've got so much going on, you kind of forget what the fuck's going on. That's what's like, it went fucking blank. Anyway. What's going on, Circuit? How you doing? 2017 all-time high is at 103.8. Yeah, 100%. Dixie, I think there's a flat body candle on the daily chart, 100. Yeah, but that's the thing is, it doesn't have to fill out the Dixie chart just yet, right? So if gold is looking bearish, right? So we could do something like this. So you know how we had a massive drop down there, bearish market structure there? We can pull back up, find some resistance, break below here. What I'm looking for is a setup into the mid-range, into 75% range, looking to go down into the mid-range itself. That's what I'm looking for. And if this happens, I'm expecting dollar index to push up. So if XAU, which is gold, oops, you can't really see this. If XAU, which is gold, goes down, I'm expecting dollar index to go up, and then which in turn ES to go down, which will then make BTC go down and ETH go down, and all your alts to go down too as well. Pullbacks, whatever. If it's a pullback, I don't know. We'll work it out as we come across it. So that's the setup for gold at the mid range. We'll see what happens, right? So what? Let me delete this. Where the fuck is this? At the mid range, if we lose the mid range, right, let it do its thing. Once we lose this mid range, I'm looking for another setup to come down into the range low itself, and it's just a range band environment. So we can actually drop down quite strongly back into the range low to 1680 on gold, quite potentially. What I want to see is hold. If I want to be bullish, right, I need to see how we react to the mid range. As long, whoops, let me delete that. As long we hold the mid range, let it do its thing, right? What's the key level that we're looking for a reclaim? I'd say probably this area. Nah, I wouldn't say that. I'd say this one here. I found it right here. Once we get back up, reclaim this level there, then we know that's the bullish market structure there. Break above these highs, play this back into the range highs. From the range highs, break above, let's play up the higher prices there. But we need to hold that mid-range. If we lose the mid-range, play it back down to range low, which will be like, we'll monitor the dollar index. If dollar index keeps on pushing up higher, we'll just play the move as it comes there. So is everyone following me there? Gold to 1700, 1680, I'll go for 1680 first, and then we'll see what happens. Let's go to 2021's low, and then from there we'll see what happens. After that, Bob's your uncle, like whatever Bob says, and we'll just deal with Bob in it at the same time. So that's pretty much the thing, gold. So it does make sense why dollar index is pushing up, gold is looking to go down. So what we're expecting for ES is to push down too as well. So we need to understand, is there any key resistance that the ES is facing? If there's a key resistance in ES, it all makes sense. So I understand Bitcoin and Ethereum has been pushing up on the upside as well. And don't get me wrong, I played some alts as well. I played a number of alts there, Kata, Apex. What else did we played in the group as well? We played a lot. DYDX, we played on a breakout. We played freaking, I can't think on the top of my head. We played loads as well. Some of the guys actually called out some really sick ones. BMDA, freaking out. They bought in at 6 cents and it's at 36 cents right now. So 6x move from thingy. So shout out to fucking Steam, man. Steam is a gangster in the group as well, pulling out some mad ones lately. So fair play to him as well. But like now the market's pushing up, right? And it is what it is. But we need to actually see if there's any pullback. If it's a pullback, it's a pullback. If it's a short back to the range low, we'll work this out level to level. We'll talk about that in just a second. Looking at ES, is there any key level that's actually finding resistance? Well, really and truly, it's literally here. So if I show you, that's the low, that's September's low, and this is September's high, and that's September's low. Can you see how we are unable to close above the range high itself? We found resistance, do a deviation, and we close below it on the Friday, right below it as well. We've got a bit of a gap, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So if I were to focus on this range right there, just literally as a potential setup, what we're looking at, we're going to narrow this down, right? I know I got September's range. We're looking to the mid range itself, but I'm looking to actually come back into this area consolidation. I'll make it all make sense in just a second there. So let me just drop it to the 4 hours, right? And then let me just, there we go. That's much more better. Let's focus on level to level, okay? What I'm focused on right now, right? from the weekly point of view, let's have a look at the weekly first before we go any further, is that we did a stop run. Can you see that? All we did, let me hide this all, makes a lot more sense there. You see this high here? And then we got another high there, we did a stop run there, and we did another more stop run there, and we closed below September's high. So do we come back up and then find resistance with a breakdown? We take the short back to level to level. That's what we're looking. So I'll be like, from the weekly point of view, that'll be target 1, and this will be target 2. Yeah, around this is target 2. From these highs there, that's pretty much it. And it just so says take out the liquidity there, and that's playing it back down to the base of this original move. Because remember, you see, this is a weekly. You got 3. Well, if you delete this for a second and literally just show this, you got this high to this low. You have 3 weeks worth of data stuck in this range there before we break above it, have a wick below, lower high, high lows, and then we send off to take out these highs there. So what we're looking for is a retest to come back into the area consolidation. This is the area consolidation right there, and if it does that and holds above it, take the longs, off we go. If we start breaking down, take the shorts, off we go. Whichever he fucking wants to do. I'm not in any rush. I'm just literally gonna let Asia do its thing, and then on Monday I'll see what the deal is. So if I were to narrow this down on the 4 hours, for example, and start looking at what the possible price action that we could work on with, give me a second, guys. Yeah, if we're looking at some possible price action that we can work on with, let's have a look at what's at hand. Because you got to look at your levels, right? So what I'm going to be doing is narrowing things down. Number 1, right? So I've got literally this range high. This is a weekly range high. That's a weekly range high, and that's a weekly range low. This is where price has been capped. Well, if I show it to you on the weekly, it makes a bit more sense, to be honest, as well too. No point me saying shit and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? So if I show you this, right, this is the low and that's the high. This whole week, right, capped the whole market. Can you see how price is actually found support, found resistance? What we're looking for, mid-range. Then what we're looking for, range low. As long as we lose the mid-range, we play the range low. If it holds the mid-range, we play it back to range high. That's what it is. Ping pong a la bing bong. That's what it is. Fucking no, you just keep it nice and simple. Nothing too crazy. And the rest sets on its own. Just be patient, man. It really is just a patient game. I mean, we play the longs. The short sets up, play the shorts. If the long sets up, we play the longs. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So anyway, so that's range low, the range high. This is range low. And let's play to mid-range. Okay, we're just keeping it on the weekly range. The same range as itself. We're not doing anything else in difference. POC is 1582. Do you use high block? No, I don't use high block. I don't use any of it. Tunahan says POC is at 1582, which we'll touch base on Ethereum in just a second. Carl is saying Dixie, I think there's a flat body. Yeah, we talked about that. 108, 2017. Your circuit saying, yo, I'm losing a plot here. What the fuck? Smash the likes, everybody, man. I really appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for actually jumping on the show so late in the evening as well. Oh, I got Trizzy, a good friend of mine called Trizzy. He's coming on the show next week as well. So shout out to Trizzy. Plug him in as well in just a moment there. So yeah, circuit saying 180k versus 517k. For what is it? DK who makes such prediction and misses targets by 3x. What's that in referral to? Is that gold, is it? But yeah, so when we look at the weekly range, you got the high there, run the highs there, cool. Come back in, it's a deviation, we're stepping back into the range. Once we lose this low, then we can start saying playing it level to level into the mid-range. So if I were to plan this out, right, it's literally this. That's the low, it's holding support, let it do its thing. If it comes back up, come back down, lose this level there. I mean, if I want to be aggressive, if I want to be aggressive, this is how I play it. Let me change the color so you guys can see what the deal is. That's the low there. So if I want to play aggressive, this is what it is. Let the weekly thing do. Let the weekly open do its thing. Any sort of deviation, maybe a stop run, starts breaking down. You can enter in aggressively, whatever the stop loss is, playing it back into this area there. Your confirmation really is once we lose this low there, bearish market structure. This is your absolute confirmation. Let me write this down. Confirmation. Everyone understand that? This is your absolute confirmation. Your stop loss above whatever the high is, playing it back down, level to level, back into the mid-range. We may want to front run it into this area here, but mid-range is what you're targeting. And once we look at the mid-range and then loses the mid-range, what you're doing is you're playing it back into the area which I would like to see as a retest into, yeah, probably into here. Yeah. No, if I were to be a bit more anal, I'll say that's the target one. And then I'd say this is my next set of targets there. And then playing it back down. Yeah. So something like that, that'd be target one. That's the next set of targets. Target 2 and then target 3. And that's the way to play it from the low, the highs, back to the lows, lows, back to the highs, and then back to the highs, back down to lows. That's what we're looking for. So ES is at major resistance. Gold is dropping down. Dollar index is pushing up. It is looking like that this is going to happen, where we're going to have a drop down. Now, where am I wrong? Right? You always have to, I have to admit, if I'm going to be wrong, where I'm going to be wrong. So I'm looking, excuse me there. If I just delete all this there. And if I want to be wrong, I'm happy to take the the longs on the upside, but I need to see a reason for me to go higher. So that's the high there. It's capping the market there. We found a bit of resistance down the 4 hours. Let it do its thing. Once we, maybe a stop run or whatever. Once we get back and hold above this level there, I'm happy to go for the longs to playing into the macro mid range. And then the macro mid range, if I were to hide the drawings there, this is the macro mid range right over here, right here. This is a key area there, because what we're looking at, if I were to zoom out onto the daily, right? Because I need to be prepared for the break, if there's going to be a breakout. I don't know, right? There's no need for me to just say, yeah, we're going to go shorts, right? But I have to be prepared at both sides of the market. Play both sides of the market, you can't go wrong. Like, there's no need to marry anything. So that's the range low, 2021's range low. That's the mid range, and that's the range high. That's all we're looking at. Keeping it nice and simple, right? Let me just delete this. Close. Come on, man. Why can't I hide drawings? There we go. So if he does something like that, whatever he wants to do, holds above it, bullish market structure, this is for me to say, yep, I'm happy to play into these areas there. Target 1. That's target 1. And then we're looking to target 2 into that high. And maybe into squeeze into that. That's the only way for me to say, yeah, we're going to go bullish. I have to see a reclaim of this level here. Once we reclaim the 4220, 4220, which is the 2021 mid range, then we can say, hang on a second. What we're doing really is quite simple. We're playing it from the low, up back to the high, but from the high back down to the low. We did a deviation. We held the low, right? Runs the stops there, runs the stops over here. Then we're playing it back to the mid range. If we play back to the mid range, we can play it back into the range high. That's all we're looking for, level to level. Keep it nice and simple. We got the breakdown plan. If it does break down, we got the thingy. We got the breakout plan. If it does got the breakout plan, whichever comes its way, that's all we gotta do. Want to be a bit more sensible, a bit more clear about what the market's doing. Before I touch base on what's going on in Bitcoin, I want to see what total 2 is, because I'm in alts, right? I'm in alts, so I need to actually be able to actually be aware of what's actually acting as a bit of resistance here. So because we're looking to break down here, if you look at it this way, I'm in alts, right? And I've been playing alts for quite some time, a couple of weeks now actually. You can see that we've got a bullish trend coming over here. Can you see that? This is the low. It's holding support, support, support. Come back here, no problem. Let it run up to here, right? I'm looking for this area here. This is the macro range high. I'm going to do a weekly alt stream really soon. I'm going to explain this, and I want to use that as my pinnacle reasoning for me to go longs and shorts on alt. And I'll explain it on next session, sometime this week, which we'll do some alt, like they're literally in alt as well. A couple of alts, 3 or 4, whatever. Do some from you guys as well, whichever you guys actually tell. Hey Nando, how you doing, brother? So literally just play it out, level to level. Now, if it breaks, for example, let me just remove this. If it breaks this trend line over here, right? What I'm looking to act to support is this area here. You see that key, the SR there, resistance, resistance, deviation, resistance, deviation, pop back up, another deviation, resistance, blow past back up. It's a key SR. So let it do its thing. I want to see price hold, especially above this thing here. Maybe it might wick down into the mid range here and do something like that. As long as we hold above it, we carry on going up higher. But if we do something like this, break down below the mid range, this is enough for me to say, let's play back down into the range low, and let's look at going into these areas here, right? So if I hide my face again, you can see where I'm highlighting there, and then we can look at target 1, which is 25% range of July's range, target 2, and then maybe target 3, which is July's low, and that will set up a nice short there. Okay, so as long as the market's looking bullish in terms of alts, let it do its thing. I'm taking profits as on some alts. There's alts I've actually bought in particularly for the bull run itself. So I've bought in a small position in there. So I've allocated, like what I've done, I've sat down, and I think it's really useful for all of you guys as well. Is sit down, literally just work out how much capital you got, how much you're willing to actually put on to, in terms of a hodl bag, and slowly accumulate DCA into now as well. That's what I would appreciate as well. In terms of Bitcoin, can it go down to yearly open? I would like that to happen. Does it have to happen? I don't know. Most likely, probability wise, that's what tends to happen itself. But we need to play it level to level, okay? Touching base on Bitcoin now, right? The all important thing. So Bitcoin, it's now, oops, not this one. This is my chart. So what I was looking for is to hold this 75% range. So if I just delete this for a second, right? And I'm just going to show you this for a moment, okay? Okay, I'm just going to show you this, right? So we got July's range. You see how we got July's low to July's high, back to the low, mid-range, come back, do a deviation, we step in, we hold into it, we come into the mid-range, break above it. So do we hold into the mid-range and then play it back up to the range high, or do we come back into the mid-range and then find resistance, and that was a deviation of the mid-range and play it back to range low, or do we actually reclaim and hold above it and push back up into these highs there? Quite possibly any of these opportunities are available there. We just need to see what's going to happen there in terms of Bitcoin. So if I were to look at the 4-hour chart, right, so I've got July's high, which is at 24.6k, and I've got July's mid-range, which is at 21.8k. All right, so if I were to draw a trend line and be reasonable about the trend line, I can see probably, yeah, I'd probably use this. Is this a deviation? Because if we step back up and hold above it, right, I like to see us to come back up, maybe somewhere around here, and as long as we hold above it, flip this SR there, I'm happy to run into this area as target 1, these highs as target 2, and then going into 24.666, which is target 3. And if we hold above it, let's go down to 25.2, which is the highs over there at 25.2k. These are the plans. That's the bullish plan. That literally is the bullish plan. It all comes down to holding this trend line there and having a deviation and reclaiming this area, 75% of the range. That is the mid-range between the July's mid-range and July's high and July's mid-range. So it all comes down to, it's not all lost yet. It's all not lost, because if I were to actually highlight, like, just delete it and see what's holding the market really, right? I need to find a particular level that does everything for me. So literally at the moment, right, what's really capping the market, it's this. You see this down candle here? See how we actually held this market there? Support, 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 support. It's all support. You see how that's all support there? That's showing me that's enough, right? If it could do something like that, whatever it wants to do, reclaim and hold above it, bullish market structure, that's enough for me to say to run into these areas as target 1, run into this area as target 2, run into this area as target 3, and run into 24.6. Because we are, let's be honest, market structure is showing bullish. We're making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. I mean, it's slowly, I have to be honest, it's slowly looking like it's toppling over. But this is holding support. So if I want confirmation to play for the shorts, right, what I'm looking for is literally losing this low here. Once we lose this low here, then what's our target then? Whatever it wants to do, this is the confirmation, and I can start playing, filling out inefficiencies. Can everyone see that? Inefficiencies, fair value gap, whichever you want to say. Target 1, target 2, into the order block there. And that's all we're looking for. That's 1, and then that's 2. So there's a few things that we can look at Bitcoin, and I want to slow it down as much as possible for you guys to really see what I'm looking at level to level. Right. So number 1, let's just talk about January's range. I think January's range is quite an important factor for us as well, for all of us as well. So January's low is, where's January's low? It's literally right over. Right here. So it's somewhere around there. I'm going to hide this all in a second. Just give me a moment there. That's January's low. Yep, that's it. That's January's low. Where is it? It's right over here. Is that it? Just trying to get it right. Sorry about that, guys. Something like that, right? That's January's low. Okay. And then we got January's high. January's high comes into right over, and this was in February. This comes into right over here. So what's capping the market at the moment? January's high. Resistance over here. It's all resistance here. We have consolidation below January's high. Now, one would argue, hey, what's going on, Touche? How you doing? John Caboose is in the house, man. Good to have you here. Mr. M, what's going on, brother? You always make me fucking smile, my bro. Good to have you here, brother. So, if you look at it this way, right, what's capping the market? You're always looking, you know, when you're looking at trades, right, it's easy to take a trade in it. It's easy to actually say, yeah, I'm long or I'm short. Very easy. Everyone can say that, right? But looking and identifying what are the potential setups, what are the ways we're looking for the market to do its thing, for us to go highs and lows and whatever. And you can narrow this all down, but I'm looking at this at a more of a bigger picture in mind. The bigger picture I have in mind is we've started the first month. Look, it's been great. It's been really great playing longs and whatnot. And I have to be like, I have to look at this as a trader's point of view. The trader's point of view is this: we've gone up for 3 weeks straight. All right. 3 weeks straight with minimal pullback, right? And no respect to SRs, no respect to this SR when we had a breakout. We didn't have any retest and then and keep going up higher. This high over here, when we broke out this high, we consolidated above the high itself and blast off consolidation. This is the SR, blast off consolidation. This is the next SR, and we're still consolidating in this little tight bullshit range. If you think about it, this is a bullshit range. So if I were to actually say, what's the mid range? Let's just work this out, because we're gonna have to actually. Do you know what? I don't like this. Let me go on the daily. I don't like doing this on the 4 hours because I want to capture as much data as I can, showing all this out there. And I'm just using January's range. So let me do that properly. Sorry about this, guys. So that's the low, and that's the high right there. So that's that there. And let me just move this over here, guys. Hopefully you can see this all now. So I'm just gonna draw this all in there. That's the low. That's the mid range, and that's the range high. I'm just using January's range. You can use July's range. You can use November's range when we step into it. You can use whatever range you want, but I'm particularly using January's range because we've just done January, and that's the most recent data. That's what I'm looking for, nothing else. So let me delete that all there. We have a clean blank sheet of a chart, and we're just literally 3 lines there. Nice and simple, nothing too complicated there. As you can see from the mid-range itself, we've actually just hung above it. We never had a retest there. So there's liquidity resting there. You know what I'm saying? So there's a few options that we need to look at. Is this a pullback, or is this a breakdown to go back into January's low to take out liquidity there? Because we've taken out liquidity, if you think about it this way, right? We've taken out liquidity on January's high from that spike that happened like on the 2nd of February. Do that for you guys. Yeah, so we've taken out liquidity at January's high itself, right over here. There's liquidity resting over here, right? So there's areas of support that we can look at to hold it. So for example, number 1, we got November's high, which is like last quarter's high. That's an area of support. We've got what else we got? This low here, which is July's low. That's the next area of support. And we've got this particular high here. That's the next area of support. Okay, before we even come to this area here of support. So you see how I'm already starting to mark out areas of support. If we're going to come back down, where I'm expecting for price to have a bit of a bounce, have a bit of a range bound environment before we have another leg up or a leg down. I don't know which one it is. So I'm working this out, but I know the pink lines are really important to me. Okay, so what I'm doing now, is literally looking for the setup. So if I want to actually be a bit more of an anal prick, right? This is what I could do. Literally something like that. Let it do its thing. We run up into these highs there. Breaks down. Bearish market structure. Lose the trend line there. What we're looking for? We're looking for the liquidity over here. That's the first target there. And then we're going into November's high. which comes into this order block there. See the last Daink candle here? We send the market back up to take out liquidity of these highs over here. So that's going to be a key factor. So I'm already looking at, I'm anticipating for price to react there. So if we start holding into here, breaks above it, and then I'll be playing it back up. I'll cut the trade because then this is, for me, is a short. We are finding support our last quarter's high, and that's the key factor is. And once we do this, break above and hold above it, boy, it's fucking, we'll see what happens there. So I'm just looking at these key areas for shorting opportunities there. Once we do something like that, break down, loses the low there. What am I looking for? Liquidity to be taken out coming into January's high. That's another setup for me. If I want to take profit and cut the trade, I can take another trade. That will be something like my stop loss, and I play it back to January's high. Once we come into January's mid-range, once coming to the mid-range, I'm always expecting some sort of fuckery. There's always going to be some sort of bounce over here. I'm always happy to take profits. If we hold above it, happy days. Short-term trade, play to January's high. If we reclaim January's high, what we're doing? Play back up. That's all it is. Play back up. Now, if we come into the mid-range and we decide, and you need to remember, we are starting to free fall, and there's all this inefficiency here, or fair value gap, loads of gaps here. Thin fucking move. Too thin of a move there. So they're going to get filled out. Does it have to be filled out now? I would prefer it to do so. Or does it not have to fill out? It doesn't have to fill out. If we find support and then rally up and then do something like that, this is bullish market structure. This is a complete bullish market structure. And I can't be busting my fucking head over fucking fair value gaps or inefficiencies or whatever you want to fucking call it. There's no point for me to chase after that. That will be filled out eventually whenever it wants to. For example, right? For example, I'm going to have to move this. You see this thin move over here? When we pushed up, right? This is all thin move. It didn't fill this out just yet. It filled it out way later. So does this have to be filled out straight away? No, it can go up and fill out way later. So whatever the fuck it wants to do. So don't rush into it, and don't think for a second that the market will have to do what you want it to do. It's never gonna be like that. It's always gonna do whatever it wants to do. And I kind of fucked it up tonight. Let me just bring this back up. Now I need to trying to figure out where is the key levels I was trying to draw. Fuck's sake. I've fucked it up tonight. I've completely cocked it up. Something like that. Nah, I cocked it up. I really cocked it up. What a cock. What a fucking cock. Something like that. Nearly got it right as well. That's it. I've got it. I finally found it. Oh, fuck, you know. So, everyone with me? Is everyone with me? Sorry. Everyone's following me. We're just following it level to level and bouncing at each area that it needs to be bounced off. Look, I would love for it to come back down to the yearly open, but I need to work it out level to level and see how this works. So I'm just stepping it one step at a time, okay? So that's that. That's the mid-range. Now, if we come to the mid-range and lose the mid-range, right? What am I looking for? The next area of support. July's low. That's holding a support over here. Deviation, support. Blast through, come back up. Thin movement up there. And if we hold July's low, then and it shows bullish market structure, then I'm like, okay, then you know what we're doing? We are actually really playing in July's range itself, and this is the macro accumulation. That's the macro accumulation we gotta worry about. So if I were to draw this out, like in terms of those levels, then we get this up here and this high up here. That, oops, make this black. This is July's range. So what I've got here, that's July's low, and that's July's high, and this, to me, could be the well-deserved macro accumulation before we blast off and hold above it, and then we'll see what happens on the future as well. So that's personally fine. That's perfectly fine. Now, I know that I'm looking at the mid-range. So if I'm looking at July's low, right, and it does something like this, that'd be target 1. Come back down, maybe a bit of a deviation, hold above it. Does a deviation below July's low, just like we did a deviation over here. This is bullish again to play it back, level to level, as we go back into the range high. And once we blast off above it, what we do? Play the bullish market structure because we reclaimed above January's high. So whatever it needs to do. But again, at each level, I need to work it out what's going to happen. If it starts breaking down even further, oops, too much. There, and then something like that. And if it starts breaking down, what am I looking for? The next area is here. And we're playing it into to the yearly open. So basically, July's low is literally basically the yearly open, and that's the short ass play. It's literally what I talked about last week. I literally took that as last week as well, so there's no difference from it. So we just play it level to level. Be careful about it. There's no need to rush into a trade until it's proven to be a trade itself. That's the shortest play. What's the bullish play? The bullish play is quite simple. For me to be bullish, right? Same as last week. Nothing's really changed. I know for a fact, right? So I'm just going to focus within this fin movement. You see, look, we have all this fin movement there, this inefficiency. Did it fill out when we came into here? This was from, like, we dropped down in June. Did we fill it out? Nah. We did a little bit of a grind up and then lost it all there. Grind back down, lost it back down. And we still got all this fin move to, oops. And we still got all this fin move to be filled out. So if it comes into here and holds above it, or even into July's low, right, and holds above it, it doesn't have to fill this out. Because this wasn't, well, this here wasn't filled out until, well, we're looking for a fill out sooner than later. If he does something like that, then happy days, let's go up and fill out all this move there. So if I'm looking for more of a bullish play, what am I looking for? July's high and July's low. That's the key factor. This is the key consolidation. For me to say, yeah, let's fucking go, all I'm looking for is let price do its thing. Once we come back up, take out these highs there, these highs over there, maybe a bit of a deviation, something like that. Something like that. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Bullish price action. This is your final confirmation. And then I'm happy to go right into these areas here, 28k. And that's the area that I'm looking for. And if we step back in, happy days, let's go up higher. Or if we start retesting it, like, you know, break down, like a retest of July's low and reclaim this level area here and let's go up higher. That's really the plan that I have for BTC. So everyone follow me there before I carry on. Jump onto Ethereum now, right? Because Ethereum pulling back, right? So Ethereum, I marked out a plan. Let me just draw this, find this up profile. Marked out a plan, right? Literally, what I said was this: let the weekly close do its thing. I'm gonna this up. Yeah, let the weekly close do its thing. Find resistance on Monday's high, and we look at to take liquidity on Monday's low, which is over here. This is Monday's high. Feb's open will be the key factor that we're looking for. If it's going to be bullish, this is the area at February's open. We need to hold above it. If we lose February's open, it's game over, right? It's the same for BTC. Before I even touch base on it, it's the same for BTC. February's open is where? Let's have a look. February's open is literally, oh, we lost fucking February's open. This is February's open right here. Yeah. No, that's a lie. That's completely a lie. It's the other side. The downside, sorry, my mistake. That's February's low. So if we step back up and hold above it and reclaim these, well, reclaim this high over here, for example, I'm looking for bullish market structure to play the longs as per plan that we talked about. Okay, so it really comes down to this: are we really losing February's low, thing open? So if we find resistance on February's open, take the shorts there, off you go, play it back down level to level as we discussed. Okay, so same thing can be applied to Ethereum. Let's just talk about Ethereum for a second, see what we got here, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is literally November's range. January's range is right here. This is January's low, and that's January's high. Yeah, I think I'll stick with January's range. Fuck it. Let's keep it nice and simple. Let's not overcomplicate the shit out of it for no reason. So January's low is here. January's high is there. That's 22nd Jan. Cool. And let's do that there. Drop it down to the 4. And let's just work out what the fuck is going on, right? Everyone sees that there? Cool. Let's mark out the levels, key levels there. January's high, January's mid, and January's low. And just above the January's low, we've got the yellow open. Okay, so we work this out as we come into it. Okay, now, if I draw a trend line, right, we've got a bit of a support thing going on right here. Something along the lines like that, probably, I could say. Something like that. As long as we hold into it, I'm quite happy for it to come back into here. And it just so happens, where is January's open? I think Ethereum is a little bit more nicer to look at in terms of looking for where are the potential setups that we can actually get into. So this horizontal line that I'm showing right here is February's open, right? So if we come back into February's open, let it do its thing, hold above this. What we're looking for, playing it back into the range high, that's January's high. Once we reclaim January's high, we talk about the bullish play on the upside. But let's just talk about the bearish play first, okay? So what we're looking at, right, if let it do its thing, right? I'm actually personally looking for this setup over here. This is a setup that I'm looking for a short somewhere into this particular area there. If we can get into this area there, I'm happy to go aggressive. Stop loss there. I mean, the invalidation will be here, to be honest, to play it back down. Once we step back into this range and find resistance like this is enough. This here is the confirmation for me. Once we lose this key SR, see this key SR here? It's on the 4 hours. Once we lose this key SR right there, I'm happy to play it back down to the mid-range. Well, it's around the mid-range, which is February's open. And if we lose February's open, I'm looking for liquidity on Monday's high. Because that's Monday's high. We've taken out the liquidity there. Looks like a deviation there. And then what's next? Liquidity on Monday's low. After that, we'll see what happens. But that's like more of a day trade plan itself that we can actually look at. But looking at Ethereum, how can we actually mark this out for the shorts? Let it do its thing, right? Once we find its thing, loses February's low, bearish market structure. What am I looking for? Playing it back down. Let me do this properly. I don't like this. I don't like this drawing. This drawing is kind of shit. Yeah, the drawing's kind of shit. I don't like that. Right, so let it do its thing. Once it loses this area there, bearish market structure. This is my confirmation because we're below February's open. This is the deviation of February's open itself. We've made the high of the month. Are we going to make the low of the month itself? Are we going to actually go send it down? Then I'm looking for target 1. And there's liquidity, fresh liquidity resting over here. What we're looking for is losing this block here. This is the key block that I need for it to lose. As you can see, I'll change the color right there. We find support here. Find support here. This area here has to lose. Once we lose this area there, we're looking for the next set of targets into the mid-range. Liquidity is going to be resting down here, right over here. From the mid-range, if we hold above it, I'm happy to take the longs, to play it back up to these areas there, well, into this block itself. Really and truly, actually, first. Into this block over here. And if we can actually reclaim this block there, keep the longs going, back into January's high. And then we'll see if we can do a breakout on the upside, which we'll discuss about. But if we lose the mid-range, what do we do? Play it back down, level to level. And as you can see, we're going to play it down all the way. I'd say the target we're looking for is probably target 1 will be here. And target 2, I'd say, is there. And then we look for the yearly. No, I'd say probably here. There. And then the yearly open, really. So target 1. And that's target 2. And then we look for target 3, which is January's low. First things first, yearly open. And if we hold above it, happy days, let's go on the upside. If we lose this down, happy days, let's go down. And what we're looking for to do is play into, quite importantly, let me change a different chart there. July's low. So this is the yearly open right here. So if we lose the level and come back down, what we're looking for, taking out the double bottoms over here. Let me hide my face so you guys can see. That's a double bottom right there, going to July's low. And that's pretty much the bearish play. Everyone's with me. So it's all comes down to what we're going to do. What we're going to do going forward. So it's all key elements we need to worry about. The bullish plays, right? The bullish plan that I'm looking for, which is intriguing me, right? So I need to see if we can actually do something like that. Is literally this. So we are at resistance. We have to remember, dollar index is at support. ES is at resistance. We got freaking gold is at resistance. So is there any reason for crypto to go bullish? Not really. Not really. It's going to respect what the traditional market is doing at the same time. It's going to do its thing, and there'll be opportunities to buy in. And when we need to buy in, if we get a breakout on the upside, fine, we'll play the breakout on the upside. But what I'm looking at is literally this. This is the macro range environment here. This low here and this high here. We've got a range bound environment over here. Deviation there. We got is this a deviation or a retest for us to go down lower to go to the yearly open? If we lose the yearly open, then there's liquidity over here, liquidity over here, and we're working out level to level what happens next. So we got a lot of plans to do, but the bullish plan is literally this. If we reclaim this 1800, the 1700 area, takes out July's high, find support July's high, then I'm looking to run into these highs there, back into the 25%, and then into the mid-range, which is at 3K. But we've got a lot of work to do. If we do a breakout on the upside, I'm happy to do another session to actually plan what's potential play. But I think for the time being, because we're at resistance, I'm looking for the short itself. Which is why I'm not really going to dive into looking for longs. Because I think because The way dollar index is doing, I gotta respect it, and I think we're gonna go down, go lower, and see what happens. Mid range is the key point. What's so important about a generous mid range? It's actually at 2018's high, which is at 1440, which is, if you guys can see, right this high over here. That's the key thing. So we're gonna see level to level. So if we've done the deviation, right? If we've done the deviation of the 2018 high, we should hold into this, reclaim this level there, and play on the upside there. So it all comes down to what we're going to do. But I'd say focus level to level, use January's range to actually draw it out. If you want to be more certain, let Monday play out and use the range, Monday's range on Tuesday itself. Just like what I'm going to be using for tomorrow's trade itself. You see, we get pushed up into these areas there, find resistance, step back down. This is for me to actually enter in with a bit more aggressiveness there. Put a stop loss there. Invalidations over here. Play back to them into Feb's open and look to Monday's low. That's what I'm really looking for in terms of a trade. As a trade scenario, I think that's the most sensible option there. And after that, we'll see what happens next. Any questions before I head off? Hopefully it's nice and simple for all of you guys there, and nothing too complicated there. Really appreciate your time there. Wish you all the best, and it's going to be an interesting week ahead of us in time. But yeah, catch you guys soon. Take care, everybody. See you later.